Hi, this is artist Tara Reed, and today I just wanted to give you 3 things to consider before you sign an art licensing contract. Art licensing is basically done through contracts, written agreements between artists and manufacturers or retailers about what is going to be done with art, what products it can go on, etc. So here are 3 things that you need to make sure are included in every contract you sign and that you make sure you understand before putting your name to the paper. The first is basic terms. Are all of the basic terms in the contract, and are they well defined? Basic terms would include what art is being licensed, what products is that art going to go on, where will those products be sold, that's the territory. How long does the contract last? What is the term of the contract? And then finally, how are you going to be paid? Traditionally in art licensing, we quote unquote share in the success or failure of a product. Basically, we get paid a royalty, so we get paid a percentage based on sales. You're never quite sure how that's going to go, but if it does really well, you're going to make a lot more money than if you did the alternate, which is kind of a flat fee license. A flat fee license is different than selling your art outright because you're still using a contract and you're still defining what art, what product, what territory, what term. You just know up front how much you're going to make. You both agree to a price regardless of whether they sell 1 or 1,000,000 of the products. So that's the main difference there. The second thing that is really important to consider is how do you get out of the contract if things don't go well? Obviously, if the contract ends, the term comes to an end, that's one way out. But you always want another way out other than just the term ending. Because what if something happens? What if you have a 3-year contract and for whatever reason, they don't make the product? You want to be able to get out of that contract if they don't make the product by a certain period of time, etc. There's lots of things and ways you can word termination clauses, but you always want to have some exit strategies in case you need them. I've seen too many artists get burned by not having this included in their contracts. The third thing that I want you to consider before you sign your next art licensing contract is how much will this contract affect my business? And especially, how much will it affect it if I negotiate this contract poorly? If I sign a bad contract, how bad is it going to be for me? So if you're doing a deal where it's 2 designs that are going to be on rubber stamps for 3 years and you don't define products well and you have no termination no termination clause other than the end of the term, it isn't going to break your business. You're not going to be stopped from earning income and moving forward. You're just not going to be able to use those 2 designs on rubber stamps. Could be done better, but it's not a fatal flaw. So the more a contract would affect your business if it stayed in place and wasn't working, the more I would recommend you consider hiring someone to review your contract, make sure you fully understand all of the implications, and help you with some negotiating points. The perfect example is if you're going to be working with an agent and basically turning over all of your business and marketing to that agent. What if it doesn't work? What if they don't get you business? What kinds of things might be in the contract that could hurt you if you don't have a termination clause? What if you have to give them all of your work and you're not allowed to sell it any other way except through their licensing deals? So no online, no craft fairs, no, to your neighbor. You're not supposed to do any of that, but they're still not getting you any deals. In instances like that, termination clauses are so incredibly important, and how those contracts are set up will make or break your ability to make a living with your creativity. So definitely get some help there. Another example, if you're not using an agent, where it can really make or break is if you do an exclusive agreement with a company by industry. So it's not just by design for a certain product, but it's you as an artist for an industry. So say a company came to me and they said, we want to be the exclusive company that makes kitchen textiles with your art. We're not going to guarantee you that we're going to use everything you have, but we don't want you licensing or selling your art to anybody else that's in our industry. that would be really big. If they didn't do very much with my art, that could really affect my business. So that's the third thing I want you to think about. How much will this contract affect your business? And the bigger it feels, the more you should consider hiring outside help. So these are just 3 really basic things. There's a lot involved in contracts, but I promise you, you can learn it. I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning, but I have learned these skills, and most importantly, I've learned when to get help. I can help you a little bit. Maria Brophy and I have co-authored an ebook called How to Understand Art Licensing Contracts. It is a great reference talking about all different things you may or may not see in a contract and why they may or may not be important to your business. It's a great reference. I go back to it myself. She has also created short license templates. So if you want to have your own contract to start with in an agreement or a deal negotiation, she has that available to you too. And she also explains when that is and is not an appropriate size licensing agreement to use. You can find those on artlicensinginfo.com. Additionally, on my blog, artlicensingblog.com, I do have a tab that says Find an Attorney. And that is a great place to go to find attorneys who have worked in this industry. If you do hire help, make sure they understand the art licensing industry and have worked in it before. Don't just hire any attorney that you know or the one up the street. Industry experience is super, super important. So that is all I'm going to tell you today about basics of contracts. Make sure you look at the basic terms, make sure you have a way out before the end of the time period for the contract, and make sure you consider how much this contract could affect your business in a broad and long-term sense. Here's to your creative success.